Hey everyone! Today I'm going to be filming what I learned in the first year of my music school experience. I've learned a lot of different lessons in music school and I just want to share a little bit of that with you guys, so maybe you guys won't struggle as much as I did in transitioning to music school. And there might be like a little bit of background noise, but please ignore that. Number one, you need something other than music to bring you enjoyment, or else burnout will come super quick for you. Since you're in music school, you're always going to be surrounded by music, and there's always going to be people practicing. There's always going to be people talking about music, listening to music, and so everything around you is about music. So personally, I am so grateful to be at Eastman. So I have University of Rochester right next to me. I could literally take a bus and get there, and thankfully I made some friends here. I can talk to them about things not related to music. I can do things not related to music. So even for a little while I can escape, whatever is going on at Eastman and my identity as a musician. I get to really indulge in things that make me feel good without having music associated with it, because if it comes down to everything about me as music, then what if I get really discouraged one day? Then I have nothing to turn to, right? So some things I really like doing is going to the gym, coming to River Campus, going to Starbucks, hanging out there for a little bit because I work there and usually a lot of my friends will be there and it's just refreshing. Number two, beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. This is kind of self-explanatory, but every individual has a standard of what beauty is to them, especially in the context of music, right? There's things that everyone thinks is beautiful. You have to be in tune, it needs to be in rhythm, in tempo, and has to make you feel something, right? But there's different things that make different people feel different things, different feelings. Even if it's not completely in tune, it might still touch someone. That's why people have disagreements about, oh, this section should sound like this, or no, this section should sound like this. Just because your music doesn't suit another person's taste doesn't mean your music is not beautiful, because every piece of music is definitely beautiful in its own way. And it's just that not everyone sees that in that way. I wouldn't be discouraged and I wouldn't, beat myself up about it, because just as long as you are going in the direction that you want to go, that is all that matters. Number three, this goes in hand. People have different opinions about music. This is something I kind of had a hard time with people I worked with in chamber music, especially the first little unit that we did, Mozart and Haydn. I had really different opinions about the style of Mozart and Haydn with some of my chamber mates. That was kind of difficult for me to get through because I thought this was right, but then my other group mate was persistent on their opinion. But it doesn't mean either one of us was right or wrong, because there's no right or wrong in music. So that's something that you will have to negotiate about. And it often is a hard thing to do and is an uncomfortable position to be in, but it's definitely worth learning early on in your career, just because that's something you're going to be having to do over and over again. Number four, there's so many different things to think about when practicing. When I first came here, I didn't really think much about what to practice. I just did like intonation practice, rhythm practice, bring it up to tempo, and that's about it, honestly. But after coming here, my professor Eugene Jang helped me realize so many things about what I need to think about while practicing. Things like, what kind of vibrato should I use here? Should I not use vibrato at all? And the importance of fingerings and how up bow and down bow really speak differently, and also expressive intonation. All of my notes, intonation-wise, should relate to each other and not speak differently. They all have to speak in the same aura and environment and nuance. Things like my hand frame and how to get around efficiently on my fingerboard and throughout, up and down, all around on my violin. And that's what made me think like, oh, I really need to know how to get around my violin more. I need to know my violin better. Also, things like posture, especially moving around, my bow hold, my back, my core, being grounded. These things I had no idea about. I did not even think about it. So there's a lot more to music than you initially think. Find out those little tiny things that you need to work on. Number 5, take up every opportunity to perform and listen to live music. For me, as an example, before I came to college, I had crippling performance anxiety. I would have multiple memory slips every time I performed in front of someone. And it didn't matter who it was. It didn't matter. Just any time I performed. And if I knew beforehand that I was performing, I would have performance anxiety multiple days in advance leading up to that event. And like self-sabotage was a real thing for me. I would just non-stop think about it, and just because I was thinking about, am I doing the right thing right now? Am I going to get the next note right? Because of that, I would mess up even more, especially as a person who has performance anxiety. I hate to say this, but exposure gets you used to things. It brings the stimulus level down. So the more you perform, the less you'll be scared to perform. And the more you perform, the more likely it will be to have a good experience with performing, you know? So take that risk, be courageous, and perform, because in music school, there's so many opportunities to perform. You can perform in studio class, you can call over a couple friends and perform casually. You can also hold up recitals, which is really nice. You can learn so much. Like in music school, they hold up recitals almost every week, and there's many concerts, orchestral, chamber music, soloists that come to your music school, whatever. There's a lot of concerts, master classes, things like that. So attend as many as you can, even if it's not primarily your instrument. You will definitely learn something. Now, I still do have performance anxiety. It makes me nervous a lot still, but the self-sabotage and my certainty in how I practiced and what I practiced is higher. Number 6, everyone at music school is here to support you and help you. Change your thoughts a little bit, mold it so that you think that way. Don't be afraid of what other people think. You know, a lot of people come to school thinking, oh, I don't want to be disliked by anyone, I don't want anyone to judge me, I want to create a good first impression, and that's all they think about. And when they're performing, they think, oh, I don't want them to see me mess up, I don't want to embarrass myself. Don't think of it that way. Change your thoughts to think, hey, these are my resources. Because I'm at music school, I'm given all of these resources that I can potentially reach out to, and they will help me. What's the worst that can happen? They say no. But most of the time, people don't utilize these things because they are scared, literally. Honestly, especially as a first year, everyone here is here to help you. Okay, number 7, it's okay to mess up. That's another thing. Don't be afraid. If you mess up in practice, it's fine. It's just practice. At least you didn't mess up in performance. If you mess up in front of your friends that are listening, that's fine. They mess up too. They're musicians. We're all human. It's okay. And if you did mess up in the performance, it's okay. Everyone there is listening for enjoyment. They're not here picking up every single little note that you got wrong, every little phrase that you didn't complete or didn't do in the right way. They're not there to pick on that, nitpick the tiniest things that you got wrong. That's not what they're listening for. It's the exact same thing when you're listening. When you're listening, you're just sitting there admiring the beauty of it. But if the performer is so nervous, so unstable, then it makes you nervous. So don't think like that. It's okay to mess up. Just continue the musical flow and the beauty of everything, and it'll be okay. Okay, number 8, manage your time wisely. You can manage everything you want if you plan and follow through with your plans well. As a music student, there's so many different things that we have to balance, and I have friends like, oh my gosh, how can you do so many things? And even I, as someone who is not very good at managing time, can fit in a lot of things into my schedule. I can fit in, chamber rehearsals, orchestra rehearsals, all my classes, theory, oral, studio class, my psychology class in River Campus, and plus 20 hours of work a week at the Starbucks University of Rochester. And I'm maintaining my friendships and relationships with enough time to spend for myself. If you truly wanted to, you could do so many things in college. You don't have to think of time as a limit. You just have to divide that time time really efficiently to get through everything, which means that practicing 5 hours and only working on one thing mindlessly is not going to help. Like, even if you practice 2-3 hours a day, or even 1 hour a day if that's all you can fit, it's really important to manage your time efficiently and split it up in things where you really need to work on these things. Number 9, respect is everything. Unlike university, I feel like you're in a professional environment, and as much as you are here to learn, you are also here to build a career. So things like chamber music, orchestra, lessons are to be taken seriously. Unlike university, where usually attendance is not mandatory, you have to take attendance really seriously. They can't really get efficient work done if even one person is not there. So you have to make sure when you're voicing an opinion that it's not attacking anyone or in the tone of like, hey, you're wrong, hey, do this and this and this. You have to rather negotiate it and communicate that really directly, but also respectfully, because you don't want to make the other person feel attacked or angry or defensive, things like that. Number 10, make your name known. This again is key because you're in a professional environment. It's not gonna do any good for you if you're just sitting in the practice room all day for like 8 hours and no one really knows about you. As bad as it is to say, the more people like you, the better it will be and easier it will be for your career. And because when someone needs a violinist, let's say, like, if you sit in the practice room 8 hours a day and don't talk to anyone, no one is gonna think about you first. But yeah, just make your name known to as many people as possible. It's really important among professors, among your peers, among upperclassmen. Number 11, diversity is something that I was really surprised about in music school. Like, we are all musicians. We come here and our expertise is in one specific area. We have one similar goal, right? But there's so many different people that you meet here at music school, so many different points of view, different ideas, different opinions, different identities, and those things you will have to be very respectful about and sometimes careful about. Also, I think this is just natural as a transition to college because there's so many people from so many different places. It's just very different from what I had in high school, and I thought that was very interesting. Learn to get along with a lot of different kinds of people will help you a lot. And that's the reality of professional environment. Those are some main things that I learned in the first year of music school, and life is just all about character development. I'll see you guys all in the next video. Congratulations on all of your college applications, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.